light and let it shine just on the night like the 4th of July. 'Cause baby, you're a firework. Come on, show 'em what you work. Make 'em go,
Shoot, how are you today?
Hi, good. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's nice to see you come in today and
Good to see you.
us get together and talk a little bit about where things are at and where things are going. What's going on today?
Nothing really new, just the same stuff that we've been talking about with the, James and I got into another kind of thing the other night about my parents, or my mom and my sister, and, things are getting better with Johnny at home, that's going well, but this other problem is kind of heating up, I guess.
Okay, so some really good positives going on with Johnny and the kids, but
Yeah.
at the same time, you have some things are heating up or things are getting a little more intense on some of the big subjects.
Yeah, James is putting more pressure on me about
Okay.
my mom.
Okay. That's part of the reason why I kind of wanted you to come in here today, and kind of chat. I know we've kind of limited a little bit of our individual sessions, and kind of the family sessions have done so well, but there was a few concerning things that I had, if you don't mind me bringing it up.
Sure.
Okay, when we were in the last family session, let me get in your chart. I'm a little old, so I gotta have my glasses. I wrote down here when we were talking about the money situation, the thing that's heating up right now. Johnny was talking about the issues that he was having. He was sharing his feelings about that, and you basically said, no, that's not true. You just don't get it. And then you kind of did something I haven't seen you do in our sessions at all. Throughout our time, you just kind of pulled back and disappeared. So I kind of wanted to cover a little bit of both of those today, and kind of ask you. So, what does it mean that you don't get it?
Well, I feel like with James, it's like we're both looking at the same thing, but we both have different feelings or ideas about what is going on. Like I think that it's kind of my responsibility and my duty to help my mom, and we've been doing that, and it was going fine, and then all of a sudden James is back, and I'm so glad that he's back, but it's caused lots of conflict with my mom and my sister. I'm responsible for them because they're my family too. And James thinks that it's just us that's the family, and that's not how I see it. So
Okay.
we view it totally differently, even though we're viewing the same thing.
Yeah. So we got, two different perceptions of what's going on, and that's
Yeah.
created a little of drama. It sounded like when you were talking that you get that responsibility to your family. You get, and I want to kind of explore a little bit, but it really sounds like that you get a lot from that responsibility, that it's really important to you, but at the same time it's also causing some problems for you and James, which you also find to be very important in your life right now.
Mhm.
Explain to me a little bit about the responsibility.
Well, that's just that's just what people do. That's what my family does. It's what my culture does. We take care of each other. We view the family as not just my immediate family, but my extended family as well, especially my parents. That's like a person's duty to take care of their parents.
Yeah.
And James thinks that my mom should just be on her own. She's her own family. We are the family that's important. And I see my mom as just as important as my kids and my husband. He doesn't think that that's a valid argument, or he thinks I should just forget about that.
Yeah. So,
And I want things to go well with him, but I don't think I can give this thing up. I don't think that I can cut my mom off. I don't think I can do that. But I feel like that's what James wants me to do.
Okay. So if I can kind of, you said a lot, so I can kind of understand exactly what you said. So culturally, and from a culture standpoint, what culture is your? So, and you shared that,
So ask me again, what culture are you?
yeah. So you really find it's your duty, and you mentioned that it's culturally, it's very, very important to me, and I'd like you to share a little bit more about that cultural aspect, if you don't mind me asking.
Well, I'm Asian. My
Okay.
family's from Asia, and that's what people do there. I mean, it's not accepted kind of here in the United States, but that's just common. Like, just like you take care of your kids, you take care of your parents and your family, and we all work and we all kind of contribute together, like pool our resources a little bit. And
Okay.
I've tried to tell James that, but he just doesn't. I know he understands it, but he doesn't have the same value as me.
Okay.
And so it makes it really hard to ever come to a agreement or a compromise or anything when I hold one value and he thinks that it's silly, or
Yeah.
he doesn't value the same thing. He values our immediate family, and that's it.
It's really, it must be a really culture change for James to be able to kind of to play that. I know that my little brother, he lives in Japan. Has been married to my sister-in-law for like the last 4 years, and I went to Japan for, I was there for about a week and a half, and very, very different culture. Very incredible culture. But very, very different, and how they view the family is very different. So I can really appreciate your struggle with that, because it really does sound like you're really torn between both. One is you have this huge responsibility with your family and this duty. I mean, you actually used the word duty, and then at the same time you got this other piece, which is your family currently. Now, I know one of the things that we've been trying to do is, you've been working towards, is saving money in transitional housing. So I guess my question is, so how does all these kind of intertwine and kind of mix into each other?
Well, I mean, James said what's true, that how much we give them, my mom.
So 50%, is that?
Yeah, that is true.
Okay.
But I think that sometimes he thinks we're arguing about whether that's true or not, or whether I'm okay with that or not. And that's two different arguments. It's true that that's what we give, but I feel like that's the right thing to do. And it's become a problem since James has been home, and now we're homeless, so he thinks that I should stop and make our family a priority so we can get a house. And I agree to a certain extent, but I just can't cut them. I can't stop giving them money. I can't do that.
Okay.
And I don't want to either, because I feel like it's the right thing to do. And I told James, just because we're homeless, we don't stop supporting our kids, and it's kind of the same feeling to me.
Yeah, so you're really very connected to this, and stopping would be very, very difficult for you.
Yeah.
Is that pretty accurate?
Yeah.
Even though that it's also created a lot of stress for you at home. Okay.
And I think that, it's hard because we are living in the housing, and I know that we need to save money, but I feel like sometimes when we talk about it, other arguments get brought into it, like, we're not just talking about me helping him, but we're talking about how my mom treats him, how he's welcome there. I mean, it gets so sticky with all kinds of other issues that it's hard to kind of, you know what I mean?
Locked down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to kind of come to an agreement
Yes.
or even talk about it. So I just stopped. That's why
So
you
you-
said,
Yeah, so you just shut down.
just stop. I've noticed, and you pointed that out. It's hard to do anything else.
Okay, so when the discussion of your family and the 50% that you're giving your family currently, from, if I understand correctly, from the savings account that you're using to kind of save up for the transitional housing, with that piece going on, you just really do struggle. Like, you just cannot see you being able to stop at this point in time. Okay. I guess for me is I think to myself that, like, no one's asking you, or we're not asking you, I'm not asking you to stop. I think knowing that we're not asking you to stop. It's just really about you kind of looking at possibly some other options to kind of set up some goals for yourself.
Yeah. But it's hard to get to that place with James because we can't talk about it hardly.
So what does James want, if you don't mind me asking?
He wants me to kind of cut him off,
So-
I feel like.
So nothing goes to mom and dad.
He might say something else, but I feel that that's what he wants me to do. Because it's always kind of a fight. Like the time I spend, the money I spend, he just wants them to be like, go over there on Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And that's it.
Okay. And then what do you want?
I want us to be kind of together, and I feel like, I'm willing to not live with them, like we can live separately, but I feel like we should all live kind of communally, like we pool our resources, we help each other, she helps us babysit, we help her financially, we kind of help each other. That's what I see happening, and I feel like that's a compromise, kind of.
Okay. So you see it as you should continue to give 50% of your money to your family. That should be something that not only is your duty, but it should be kind of something that both you and James eventually agree upon that is the best course of action. Is that correct?
That would be ideal. I
Okay.
guess.
Okay.
And as we make more money, it won't have to be 50%, but right now, I don't make very much money, and so 50% isn't very much
Yeah.
money, so.
Okay. So I guess my other question is, you have a responsibility to be out of transitional housing and to have saved up a certain amount of money. Where are we at with that?
Well, I guess that's the problem,
Okay.
because we don't have enough money to go. So I can see that that's a problem, but I think we're gonna have to solve it some other way. We can't
Okay.
cut this thing out of our budget.
Okay.
James can find work, or I could work more if he's
Okay.
willing to stay home with the kids more, or something.
But you do
Or
see.
we could ask my mom for help watching the kids.
Yeah.
But that becomes a problem with James, so,
Oh. So there's a lot of different dynamics playing right now.
yeah.
But I think the one thing we understand is that that the 50% that you're giving to your family is very, very important to you, but is also creating difficulties for James.
Mhm.
And you've also shared that yes, 100%. This is the issue. I give a lot of money,
Mhm.
and we're really behind on our payments or our saving for our housing, and it does sound like you have some other ideas, such as you could pick up more hours, or James could, once James finds employment, but how does that, is that going to be really possible, I guess, with all your other responsibilities that you have and the responsibilities James has to, with the state and everything else? Is that truly a possibility for you guys?
I think so, and I think that I could talk to my mom maybe about working something out with a little less, but I just can't, I can't just stop giving the money, I can't do that. I'm not gonna cut them off. I can't. So James and I are gonna have to compromise somehow, and it is possible for me to work more. And when he finds a job, it won't be a problem at all, I think.
Okay. Well, let me just throw this out. When you can't get more work and James has a difficulty, finally locking down employment, and we get to the end moment where you have to be out of transitional housing and the money is still not there. What happens?
I don't know, that's a problem. I don't know. I really don't know the answer.
Okay. So what is it that we can do now? I mean, looking from it from a standpoint, what would be? I mean, you mentioned several times that, and I wish James could compromise, and I'm looking at I guess sitting here just going, so what is the compromise that we have control over right now?
Well, I feel like if I could just even talk to James about it without so much controversy, that would be a step in the right direction for us. Like if we could just, because James and I are good at teamwork in a lot of areas, but just if we could kind of get on the same page about this, I feel like we could come up with a solution. But getting on the same page is not working out with us.
Okay.
So, I think maybe me picking up an extra couple of shifts at work, but not increasing how much I give to my mom might be an option.
Okay.
That would give us a few $100s in extra money for the savings account.
Okay.
I think that would work, but I feel like I can't tell James or talk to him about it.
Okay. So, you do believe you and James are a really good team. And
Yeah.
if you could talk about this, you could get to a place where you wanted, or you both wanted to make some changes here. That way it'd work out. Because I think your overall goal, it sounds like, is for you to move out of transitional housing, for you to get into your own place.
Yeah.
So coming to a compromise in some ways. And I heard one of your compromises would be to give a little bit less. Is that something that...
Well, if I worked more, I wouldn't give him any of that, maybe. Like, if I just worked more, then I could only put that extra money into our account and not give any more to my mom.
Okay.
Or maybe just, I could ask her what they could live on, and maybe we could work something out giving a little less.
Okay.
But James' plan to not give anything is not gonna work for me.
Well, I understand that. I mean, it sounds like we got two extremes from what you said.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you said, like, oh my gosh, I really want to give this. This is my duty. It's my responsibility. And even when you said, about compromising with James, you also said, well, maybe I can talk to my mom to see if I can give less. So you have this one side where it's like this, really pulling at you to do this. And we continue to not change anything at all. And then you got James' side, which is, let's cut that woman off and that family off.
Mm-hmm. Which makes me not want to makes me not want to compromise with him at all.
Well,
Because I feel like he's not helping me in any, it's just difficult. It's just hard. There's a lot going on. It's a lot.
I absolutely understand. So by James being very concrete in what his compromise is,
It makes me more concrete.
and makes you more concrete. So you're both are being concrete and we're getting nowhere in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So really what we have to do really today is kind of figure out what your compromise is. What are you willing to do? It sounds like one is that you're willing to take on more hours. Two is if that doesn't happen, which, I think it would be difficult. You're wanting to be at home more with your kids and your family anyway, so working more is going to really take you away, but that is an option. The other option is really kind of limiting the amount of money you get to your family, which that may have some, some struggles too. But all those are really positive, suggestions, because one is it brings you to a compromise. And then at the same time, we have to get you and James in here for your marital stuff and figure out how we can come to a compromise together. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there so part of this session was just kind of get an idea. So it sounds like for me is that you're willing to compromise, and now we just need to press forward with yours and James' relationship to see if we can get to a better compromise for the both of you.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
That would be great.
Okay. Because I do understand this, that there's so much that you get from being there for your family, and I understand that you very, very much love James. And I think that the sooner we can come to a compromise, the better. Because I think James in some ways is really stressed about, wanting to kind of get his family out of this shelter, this transitional housing. And from milestones, you guys are not close. And I understand that you love your family very much and want the same thing. So figuring out how we do that is going to be real important.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay. Anything else that you want to kind of talk about today or do?
No, I think if we have James here next time, we could really maybe hopefully.
Okay. Sheila, I just want to let you know you're doing great things. I mean, really, to be honest with you, I mean, you even looking at this aspect, because I'll be honest, my little interaction with your culture is the fact that family is extremely important. So I'll be honest with you, I think you love both your families very, very well. And so I think that's just really incredible that you're even willing to kind of take a look at that, you know, for the sake of your other family, which is James and your kids. You know, so I just think you're doing great work. We're continuing to move along. Johnny's better. Johnny's doing better. James and Johnny's relationship's better. There's a lot of things that's been happening for you over the last couple months. We've made some changes. So what I'd like you to do is trust in the fact that we're going to figure out a way to come to a compromise between the two of you and figure out a way to make this work for you.
Good.
Okay.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. I'll see you later.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful